I'm Grace Milham, I'm the Group Operations Director for the Property Franchise Group, and I hope you've had a fabulous session with the team on the ground today, learning more about Renters' Rights Bill and the changes that are coming up for the private rental sector. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time really talking about my main takeaways in preparation for the Renters' Rights Bill and the sort of actions that you might want to be thinking about. So, as you'll have heard today, there is quite a lot to do, quite a lot to think about. But the great thing, of course, is if you're using an agent like us, then most of that is being taken care of for you. So as long as you're following the instructions and the sort of the timelines that our agents will very simply and straightforwardly put forward to you, then you will be fine. So I think one of the key takeaways for me in the sort of changing industry that we are in is around protecting yourself from this rent arrears piece. So you've heard today some of the changes in the processes and the legislation, which means that there are longer notice periods for certain elements of rent arrears cases, and there are longer, so 3 months, not 2 months, for that mandatory ground for those rent arrears to be then taken to court. And of course, we are concerned around how courts will cope with the capacity. So one of my key takeaways, absolutely, is, as I do with my own property, is rent guarantee. The right rent guarantee is more important than ever. So again, within a product like this, a product that's going to be there when you need it and pay for those rent arrears and those eviction costs if the worst were to happen. Because the risk base has changed slightly with some of the elements to the Renters' Rights Bill. So that would be my first sort of takeaway nugget for you. So around the changes in the property standards, so you've heard we've got the Decent Home Standards coming in and we've got AWAB's law. The main element there to consider is just prepare. So the agents will be making sure when the details of those regulations come out that they will inspect and make sure that your property is within those guidelines, and where they're not, they will advise you what you need to do. And it's following those things in a timely manner that's key. If you're not using an agent, you're going to have a lot of homework to do, I'm afraid, and you can't rely on just reading this in one go and thinking you've got everything, because the bill will have new elements coming in, new regulations that will update things as time goes on. So you're really going to have to keep an eye out for those. I think that's one of the reasons that the offices tend to like the fact that I've got a whole team behind me here, because they can focus on doing what they do best, which is look after you and your properties on that daily basis. And so me and my team and the solicitor that does the document work and the project managers that make sure all the processes will work for renters' rights, we can take care of all of that. So they are focusing on being ready for you and delivering that service for you. So the nature of tenants is changing, is obviously, as we've heard about, a bit of a change, and I can see why it would be a concern. But you've got the fact that tenancies are no longer going to be in fixed terms, so we're not going to have those renewals. They are sort of open-ended, if you like, until either the tenant does something wrong or you want to move back into the property and sell. So all of the parameters that you might need to get to your property back, they are covered. And again, the key point to this is making sure that you know what you're doing when you're serving a notice, so that you can get your property back when you need it in an effective way. And that is what the agents are trained up to do for you, and to make sure that those notices are the right ones to be served. So I think that's the key element there. So as with all of this, if something is changing, or you have new information on something that you have, you should go to the experts to make sure that you're doing it right. And then that fear and the risk around that is dealt with. And that's what we are doing and planning to do for you before the Renters' Rights comes in. So this will be hopefully quite a steady journey with the sea of change. So turning to the compliance elements of the bill. So we've got the new Landlord Ombudsman. We have the Landlord and Property Portal, and we have a lot of details yet to find out about those. We know there's going to be a bit of a fee for them. We are hopeful that agents are going to be able to fill out lots of the portal information for you. And again, there'll be new regulations that are announced to give us the detail around that. But it's intended to be a place where tenants can go and get key information around the landlord and the property. And obviously, we know that it will be a place where there's easy enforcement of any issues that are, for example, if there's a gas safety that needs to go on there, if that is late, they will be able to see that. So it's going to be even more key that these things are done properly and in a timely fashion. So we obviously have all the processes and checklists and systems in place to make sure that they happen for you. And I think it's important to make sure that those elements are already prepped and ready, because there's going to be quite a few new elements. We're going to have new types of tenancy agreements, new written statements to serve. So there's going to be a lot going on when it comes out. So the more we can prepare now and be ready, the better for everybody in that, tenants and landlords alike, in that smooth journey. In terms of the sort of repercussions if something does go wrong with the compliance or with the rules around serving of notices, the standards with the property, we've heard about the fines, and we've had some information around rent repayment orders. But just to clarify what those rent repayment orders are, they can be up to 24 months rent that would need to be repaid to a tenant in certain scenarios. Now, these have always been around, rent repayment orders, for certain infringements, but there's 6 new ones coming under the Renters' Rights Bill. So an example would be if you try to market a property to let, well, it's still in that period you said you're going to be selling a property. That would be one example. It could be another one would be on the landlord portal, persistently not putting information on, or letting a property without registering for the landlord ombudsman and persistently breaching those criteria. So there's quite a lot that you can get wrong. It's not just the fines of 7,000 upwards, it's the rent repayment orders as well. So to not have that sort of worry by making sure that someone's taking care of those elements for you is, I think, something that makes us all sleep easy at night. So in summary, whilst, as we've said, there is a lot, I think my mantra to all of my team and to everybody is, yes, there's a lot to go through, but don't panic. We have it under control. We have a plan, and we know how to deliver it. We've been here with things like the Tenant Fees Act before, and we know what we're doing. I really do think that you've got the best of both worlds with the agents that you've chosen, because these are passionate business owners that want to give you the best service for you as a landlord and for your property and your tenant. But they've got behind them a franchise who can do all of the putting together the process changes and the documents and all of the kind of nitty-gritty work behind this, which most people don't have the appetite for. And we can present that to them in such a way that it's so easy for them to be able to look after you during this sea of change, and then we will come out the other side with a stronger industry and looking after everybody. Thank you for your time and take care.